I know we're at time. If anyone has to drop, feel free to do so. I want to hear from Jenny, and then I would love just some sort of closing remarks around either as a recruiter, as a hiring manager, or just you professionally and what has benefited you in your career. I'd love to hear sort of some wisdom there as we adjourn. But Jenny, what was the thought that you had?
Back to kind of what you said about a misconception with applicant tracking systems. I think overall, there's just a misconception that it's about the software, and people forget that it's humans setting up the software and humans using the software. And I think that's really like segueing into the takeaways of remembering that in these conversations about technology and how you can leverage it and how you can be more efficient and yada, 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 at the end of the day, hiring is still a very human process. And it's humans looking at candidates, humans making decisions, humans applying and telling their stories. I think that's probably the one takeaway I'd have candidates think about is who's the human on the other side. You might be overwhelmed by all the applications, things like that, but also remember on the other side of it is also human that's probably also very overwhelmed in their work and having to sift through thousands of applications. So
I love that. And so I'm gonna start with the advice I would give to anybody that's a candidate. And then I'd love for you to chime in as well. And I have three pieces of advice. The first one is really check your limiting beliefs. A lot of the clients I work with will come to me and say, like, there's no way I can make six figures. I'm never going to get that job because I don't have a degree. I'm a coder, I'm a software engineer, but I never bothered to get my bachelor's. No one's going to hire me, right? Number two, because all of those things are not true. 2/3 of the people in the United States don't have a degree, and people are employed that don't have degrees. So you can get the job. You just got to check that bias that you have in your own head about who you are and how you can show up professionally, right? Two, on your resume and on LinkedIn and as you're interviewing, the phrase that I like to use with my clients is, what's the legacy you left behind, right? And for every role that you had, what is the legacy? What's the contribution? How did you leave that role better? Those are the things you should be talking about. And then the third thing is, if you really want a specific kind of job, show up and start working for it, right? Like when I worked at the last corporate environment that I worked in, I was in sales and operations. Off the side of my desk, I raised my hand and said, hey, I have some unique qualifications in diversity and inclusion and employee resource groups. Can I start the first ERG for the company and make it the model for others to follow? And I'll mentor three other leaders. Before it was all said and done, they started an office of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Guess who they hired to be their director of diversity, equity, and inclusion and employee resource groups? Me, because I did the job for free for a year and a half. Now, could someone else have come in and interviewed for that job and gotten the job? Of course they could have, but they knew I was in it to win it. I did it for free. So if you're already at a company and there's something you want to be doing, find people in the department that you want to be in, or reach out to your network. If you want to be in marketing, who do you know in marketing? Hey, can I take a free project? Will you mentor me? Will you show me some different, I'll work for free. I'll do like a free internship for you just for the experience, right? So those are the advice I would give. So I'd love, anybody else have some advice you would give to candidates that are looking these days?
I do want to piggyback off of that because that's how I've gotten most of my step up kinds of jobs. Is I kind of joke and I pick on myself, but I'm like, I annoyed people into giving me this job because I just was doing it so much. But I think there is something for showing up for what you want and showing up as who you want to be at work. And I think that dovetails into my broader piece of advice, which would be very clear with what it is that you want and what you're looking for. If the easier that you make it to help someone help you, the more likely they will. So if you're really clear with or precise with your ask, that will go a long way. If you're really clear with showing on your resume how you fit this job, that goes a long way. If you're really clear when you're interviewing how your specific experiences make you the very best candidate based off of their company that you've researched, it goes a long way. So just be very clear with who you are, what you bring, and what you want.
I love that. Jenny, any last minute parting thoughts or advice that you would give?
I think I echo I love the aspect of, know what you want and articulate that. I think right now in this current job environment more than ever, it is a employer's market, and therefore they can be super selective. And when you kind of, again, put yourselves in the seat of a person evaluating hordes and hordes of resumes, how can you kind of be that like 80 or 90%? And only show the things that are most relevant to the job. You have the interviews, you have time to get to know people afterwards to share additional things, but to get that first part, when you think about your resume, that's a marketing piece of information. Think of it as the hook. That is not going to get you the job, but all you need to do is get the conversation. So I think like Bailey did a really great job articulating that, like make it really clear how you are the best fit for this role.
I love that. Pierre, any last minute thoughts from you?
I feel a bit like a broken record as well, but like all of this has been the story of my career journey as well. It's been relationships and connections and that organically opening up opportunities. So I would encourage any person to just truly prioritize human connection over everything. We forget about that sometimes. We want to find the latest hack or the latest trick or the structure or the format or the process. And there's something to that. It's not as if that doesn't matter, but I think the theme that I've heard us all express is that the human connection cuts past all of it. And that looks like clearly articulating where you want to head, types of experiences you're interested in, and telling the story of you LLC, you as a business, and the opportunity that you want to create and the value you want to create for the company you work with, for the team and the leader you work for.
I love that. Craig, last minute thoughts?
Last minute thoughts is everyone is so straight on with what they're saying here. They're on point, and I wish I would have. They stole some of the things I did, but I will end it with this: every role, every level of that role, and every organization is different. Don't be scared if you're a candidate. Do not be scared that you can't get into an organization that you really want. Go research that organization. Find out about exactly what they're doing. What's in the news? What are some big things that have happened with them? Take that information in. Then look at your resume and look at the job description and see what their requirements and how your skill set match up, and go in prepared. Prepare yourself for the questions that you believe are going to be asked. Because in the end, humans are the ones that are going to be doing the interviews. Humans are the ones that are going to be starting the source strings. They're the ones that are going to be doing the searches for you. And once you get your shot in front of someone, make the best of it. Put your best foot forward.
I love that. So first of all, I just want to thank all of you for being here. I encourage you, if you're watching and you've made it this far through this podcast and this video, I highly encourage you to follow Jenny, follow Bailey, follow Pierre, follow Craig, follow Vidal, follow Lindsay. I mean, these are some incredible thought leaders that have a lot to say and can give you just watch their journey, because their journey is an incredible one. I can't wait to see where they are in the next 5, 10 years. And I think I'm just going to summarize it and say, you know what? I think it's human plus AI. AI will never replace human beings. AI is going to make all of our lives better, but it's going to be a learning period. It's going to take some time. There's going to be some benefits from it. There's going to be some negatives from it. But at the end of the day, you cannot replace human connection, and building those relationships is important. I'll also say, people are altruistic. Don't worry about if you haven't talked to someone in 5 years, 10 years. People want to help you. And I think people naturally just like to help each other. So don't be afraid to ask. Just make sure you hold folks accountable. Follow up a couple times. We're very busy. So thank you everyone so much for this conversation. This was an exceptional conversation. Thank you for your time. And I hope everyone has a great day. Thank you so much.